Welcome everyone to this special episode of Pro Player Plays PGA Tour 2K21. Today, I'm going to do what somebody suggested in the comments of one of my videos, and that's actually play the front nine. I've never actually played the full front nine on video before, and I think it'll give a better idea of how this course is going to play. So I really wanted to get this episode out so you can kind of see the whole 9 holes in action. And for some of the newer people to the channel who've been watching some of the episodes, some of these holes were designed almost 7 months ago, 6-7 months ago, so it's been a while since we've seen this course actually in action. And I thought I'd play each hole and kind of give a couple comments as to what I designed and what the plan was for the hole, and then just play the hole and see how it goes. A quick disclaimer before I start, I am terrible at this game, as I've said multiple times. So if you see me hit some terrible shots or do some terrible things here, yeah, that's because I'm not very good. But we're still going to give it a try anyway. So yeah, let's just hop right into it here. This is the first hole, and I designed this almost 7 months ago, I think. And the idea with this hole was I wanted it to have the visual effect of running out, which I think it does a good job of right here. As you can see down the fairway, it kind of looks like it's going to run into a bunker and get tighter, but there's actually a bunch of room up there. So it was more of just a visually intimidating tee shot, but not necessarily the most difficult tee shot. It's the first hole, and I've always liked the concept of having an easier drive off of the first tee. This bunker here on the left catches some of the tee shots that if you're downwind and you're trying to go over the bunker there, that's kind of, it's enticing the player to try and go for it. So here we go. We're just going to play. And there you go. There's your slow into the bunker. Now, if you hit it out here, you got 180 yards to a really small green. And you've got this whole left side that kind of pitches it in towards these pins over here on the right. Well, if you get it up here, you're not going to have a very pleasant shot. That was the idea with this green. So let's see if we can get something up there into a decent spot. Hey, that looked pretty good. No, never mind. So now we move to the second hole here, and the second hole, it was an island-ish green. It's not a full island, but it has bunker on all 4 sides, or on the left side and then water on the right side. And this was, I forgot to mention this on the first hole, this was the planting style I established for this course, and it was this kind of like lowland South Carolina feel to it, where there's a bunch of the inlets of water that comes in, and it goes from the ocean, and it's these little channels that come out, and there's tall grass in it, but when it's at high tide, the water almost covers the plants, but when it's at low tide, it's basically just mud down there. And I've established early on that this course was at high tide, so that's kind of the idea with this hole, or with the entire course, is the grass is just barely poking out of the water, but it's still a water hazard over here. And I really like the retaining wall, because this is something you definitely see at courses that are kind of in this area of the country. You have to build these retaining walls, otherwise the land will just erode away, and eventually the greens will become unplayable, or they'll morph and change into other things. So I felt that the retaining wall does a really good job at maintaining that realism. So yeah, this is the second hole. It's a pretty small green, but it's only 170 yards, so it's only about it's a 6-iron in your hand here. So yeah, let's see what we can do with this. That was a nice shot. And then just kind of, I put a little bit of a front here so that the ball would flow back down to this pin pretty easily. You'd have a way to stop it. And that was not a very good putt. Ooh. Saved my par though, we'll take it. Now we get to hole 3, and hole number 3, the idea was that you could hit a tee shot out to here, and you would be able to get it all the way up to the end of that fairway. But if you did get it up to the end of the fairway, you wouldn't be able to see the green at all. And if you keep it over here to the left and you use this little section, you see how the hill kind of crowns just in front of where my marker is. If you get it to the left, you're able to see the green a little bit better, and you're able to be better informed as to where you want to aim that shot. So it's more of just another visual deception, and it gets you a little bit closer to the hole. So it's how aggressive do you want to be. And then you've got this tree. If you go too far left, it's going to hit that tree and drop down into this bunker, and then you'd have a really difficult shot into the green. So I'm just going to play it out here and try and get it down as far as I can on this right line. And it ends up right on that hill. So you can barely see the green from up here. You can see that left side just a little bit. I might actually have to tweak this a little bit. It's kind of good that we're going back through it because I do want to be able to see the green from this spot. I think you should be rewarded for getting it kind of close to this left side to where you can be able to see the green. But that's okay. That's why we play these playthroughs and we see what we can improve on the golf course. One thing I wanted to mention as well is this green slopes left to right, and the reason why is because I wanted it to give the visual appearance that missing it to the left was actually preferable because you could see the green on that side, but the hidden deception was actually that the right side of the green, where I just hit this shot, actually is the easier spot to chip from because you're chipping back straight uphill and you've got those backstops as well that you can use to help stop the ball. So that was kind of the reasoning for making the green slope left to right and having the miss be to the right, even though it looks like it should be left. And now we've got hole number 4 over here, and hole number 4 is a drivable par 4 going up the hill, and it's designed so that if you are able to keep it on this green, you're probably going to have a pretty good look at eagle. But if you do get over this green, then you're kind of in a world of hurt because this chip shot from here down to that pin, that is not going to be easy. You're going to have to be very delicate trying to keep that ball up on the top tier like that. But and then if you just play it over to here, you have a really easy shot up to the screen. You got a great angle into it, and it's a pretty easy shot off the tee. So it's how daring are you willing to be? I think this front bunker isn't too bad either, which is maybe something I should think about to make it more difficult, but I don't know how I would do that. So we're just gonna go with driver here. We're gonna try and get it on the green. Oh. Gosh, I'm so bad. But I found the fairway, don't worry. Okay, well, that didn't go very well. Oh, come on, look at that. Great birdie. This is the 5th hole, and this is a big downhill par 5. And I have this retention pond right here, and a retention pond is definitely something you'd see at a course like this. When I think about like a course like Sea Island, there's a bunch of retention ponds there, and it's definitely something you'd see on a coastal course like this, just to keep some of the water from going out to the ocean. And it's very easy to make these little reservoirs here. So that's kind of that was the idea for this hole, is to make it go around a retention pond like that. And so I felt like I could get pretty close to the water with this one, because the land wouldn't naturally erode into that little retention pond because the retention pond isn't moving. Like, the water is pretty stagnant, unlike the ocean that comes in and out and slowly brings the ground with it as it goes out. So I felt like you could get pretty close with the green up to this retention pond. Yeah, and there's one thing I already noticed off this tee is when you're actually in the swing mode, you can't see this left bunker, which is part of the visual intimidation of this hole, is that bunker is really prominently in play. You can see I left the shadows off of that bunker so that you would be able to very clearly see it off the tee. But yeah, that's something we got to fix. We got to bring down this little patch of grass in front of us, or raise this tee box up a little bit. But we'll do that at a later time. So let's just play the hole. So now with this second shot, the idea was that you could lay it up into here and bring no water into play at all. You'd be completely clear of the water, but you'd have a pretty blind second or third shot into the green. Whereas if you play it over to here, you bring the water into play, which is obviously devastating, but you also have a good angle into the green and it's very unimpeded. You can see it very clearly. So you kind of have to decide which angle do you want to go for. So I'm going to try and go for the tighter gap here. Okay. Oh. Brutal. Now here's the 6th hole, and this is where we start going away from the sun, so the holes start getting a little bit trickier to make look beautiful. And I think this one it really pops. You've got a lot of different colors, and those rocks in the background for the next tee box, I think really pops on this hole. So this is another hole where the retaining wall comes into play, and it's up against the water here, so it's a pretty decently sized green. It's only 160 yards, but the green is pretty crazy. And this is probably honestly one of the bigger greens on the course. It actually is a little bit bigger than I remembered it being. But a lot of the pins, I know that pin's there. I think there's one pin down in here, and then I think there's one pin up here as well. So there's a lot of really tricky pins that even though you're 160 yards, you've still got to really be sure about where you're aiming it, because this water comes in right up against the retaining walls here. So a good little par 3 over this marshy area, and yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Boom. Look at that. That is a great birdie. All right, here we go. Hole number 7. This was actually the third hole we designed, so this is a little bit older of a hole. The idea with this hole was I wanted there to be something to entice the players to try and get it up into this area. And so there's this little stretch of fairway. I think it's 15 yards wide if I remember right. It's a pretty narrow area. So when you're hitting it up into here, you can get it all the way up to the edge of the fairway there, and you have a really easy chip shot that's going to set up a pretty easy birdie for the most part. But you can also get it back in here, but then as you keep getting it up into here, the further you go, the harder the angle is, because actually the green slopes towards the water. So this wedge shot is really running away from you, and you have to cover that front bunker in front of you. So a good layup shot, if you did want to lay up on this hole, not hit driver, would be to get it as close to this bunker as you can, so you can have as clean of an angle without as much of it going away from you as possible. But I'm just going to hit driver, and I'm going to try and get it up into this area. I'm going to try to get it down into the sweet spot. That was pretty good right there. Now let's see how this green is looking. Yeah, see, it kind of slopes that way. So if you're coming from here, you can see how it slopes away from you. But when you have this chip shot, it's pretty much just right to left. There's not too much. Yeah, it's actually back up into you as well. So it's definitely a huge advantage if you can get it up into this spot. Oh, close. So now hole number 8. This is a more recent one, and you know, it's kind of funny. I think it shows. I think this hole looks fantastic, and this hole's going away from the sun as well. You can really see how these bearded bunkers, I call them bearded bunkers, they have the grass that goes along the top side of it. I think that looks really good in separating the bunkers away from kind of the fairway and the normally played areas. But the idea with this hole was that you could hit a driver up here to the top edge, and you'd have a pretty clean angle. That bunker wouldn't really be in the way unless you were going to a front right pin. You can get it up onto this top tier here, or you can get it down to the bottom, and you've got a shot that is a little bit, you get a little bit further because it kicks down this hill, but you've got to go, you got to hit a blind shot into this green, and you've got to go more over the bunker. So it's really what you want to plan on doing. I'm going to try to get it up to this top tier. Uh-oh. But it's a pretty wide fairway, like as you can see. Like I barely missed the fairway, and I hit a terrible golf shot there. So boy, this heavy rough is killer, isn't it? All right, let's see what we can do. Oof. Oh, how about that? And now finally, here we have hole 9. Hole number 9. This is the hole we just most recently did, so I won't spend too much time on it. But basically, if you get it over to this left side, you get the best angle to look in at the green from. But if you go over here, you're kind of blocked out by these trees, but you're not bringing on this bunker nearly as much. So it's how close to this bunker can you keep it, or do you want to keep it? This is kind of the ideal target line, so I'm going to take it down there and see if we can keep it in the fairway. Oh, my best swing yet. Look at that shot. And so now with this second shot, you've got two options. This pin is down in the front right, and this green, if you lay it up into here, you've got a really tricky shot over this bunker, and it's all running away from you as well. I kind of designed this green so that it would slope left to right, but if you can get it over into here, you've got a really clean angle up at that green. And one thing about this background is it's not totally done yet. I haven't finished the clubhouse area yet, so that background will look a lot better, but I'm okay with it right now because we still have plenty to do on this golf course. So yeah, let's get a shot down. I'm gonna try to get it into this right bowl, try and play this draw shot. So we got caught on this little mound, and I left this little mound in here because I thought it was pretty fun, but it definitely leaves you a trickier shot here. So let's try and get this up on the green. Ooh, and down it goes. Yeah, see, this green is a par 5 green, so I felt pretty at liberty to be pretty tricky with this shot. It's a par 5 green, so you can be pretty aggressive with how you build these greens because you're planning a short third shot into the green, so you can get pretty aggressive with how you play this, how you set up these holes. And there you have it. That is this course, and you know what's funny is I don't have a name for it yet. I don't know what I want to call it. So in the comment section of this video, let me know what you think I should call this course. It's kind of based, like I said, in the lowland, South Carolina, kind of Georgia coastline, that area. And yeah, I don't know what to call it yet. So if anybody has any good ideas, please let me know. But there you go. That was the front 9. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next hole design video. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.